I would like to invite on stage the first speaker for the evening, Mr. Manoj Chugh. Mr. Manoj Chugh is the President Enterprise Business at Tech Mahindra, an ICT industry veteran. Manoj has managed and led companies to leadership positions across diverse business segments, including servers, satellite communications, networking, and data storage. Mr. Manoj will be speaking about how the fintech industry is reinventing financial services. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Manoj.
A very good evening to all of you. When I was studying in college, which was many decades ago, one of the classes I always dreaded going was mathematics. And the reason I dreaded going to this class was because the professor always insisted that we solve very complex mathematical problems. And that's the last thing that anyone wants to do. My hatred for mathematics got converted into my love for mathematics when I got married. But till that point in time, I disliked mathematics to such an extent that I decided that if I get married, I'm going to get married to a mathematician. So what I missed out in my classes, I got to learn through the rest of my life. But I wish I had paid more attention in class, because if I had the ability to solve complex mathematical problems, rather than trying to figure out how to make numbers every quarter, perhaps I would be minting money today by actually mining bitcoins. And you know how the Bitcoin industry has dramatically changed the way financial services and digital currency is being traded today. I don't know how many of you know this or not, but after demonetization, actually the Bitcoin in India became much, much more expensive. So digital currencies are taking a new shape and form. And unlike in the past, when you could actually go and dig for gold, you actually have to solve complex mathematical problems to be able to mine this new digital currency. So it's not surprising that we began the evening by having you try and solve a simple mathematical problem. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we know how difficult it is to mine the Rubique. So as we look at what's happening in the financial services industry, it is not surprising that fintechs or the digital warriors at the doorstep are creating massive disruption in this sector, which has been highly regulated and which perhaps many of us have believed structurally cannot change. If you look at every aspect of the value chain of the financial services industry today, fintechs have disrupted each and every aspect of it. In the past, people thought, oh, you know what? These fintechs are these young boys. One of my friends said, you know, this guy looks like my grandson. I said, looks like your grandson, but is your competitor. Because this young grandson of yours is going to come and disrupt payment systems of which you have been making a lot of money. You're going to turn around and make sure that you make no money at all when it comes to payment systems. And everyone said, yeah, you know, payment systems, okay, one part they're going to disrupt. But they're not going to be able to disrupt where we really make a lot of money, wealth management. Lo and behold, before you know it, you got fintech companies which are turning around and actually disrupting wealth management. And so therefore, as you start looking at the financial services sector and you start looking at the entire value chain, whether it's retail, whether it is credit cards, whether it's wealth management, whether it's advisory, every aspect of the value chain has got disrupted by fintechs. The question is, if fintechs are going to disrupt every aspect of the value chain, what happens to the traditional financial services institutions? And perhaps many of you must be wondering as to how is it that the fintechs have suddenly come in and gained attention, Manav, as you said, just a few years ago. If you look at the demographic profile of India, and you look at how people are engaging with financial services systems in our country, all of you will agree that the mobile handset has brought about a very big and significant change. In fact, if you look at users in India, it might surprise you that more than 75% users in India actually use at least one digital service while working with the financial institution that they deal with. Isn't it amazing? 75%. This includes affluent as well as non-affluent folks. This includes the technologically savvy and the less technologically savvy folks. If you go to China, the percentage is 84%, and of course Alipay is doing a lot to kind of fuel that disruption. So therefore, if our belief is that digital is only impacting a very small segment of users of financial services in India, I want to blow that myth away. The reality is digital engagement is significantly driving and changing the behavior of how financial institutions now have to deal with their customers. So whether you like it or not, if you're a traditional bank, if you don't know how to digitally engage with your customer, you're not going to succeed. And we all recognize that if we have to digitally engage in a meaningful fashion, what does that mean? Many of us, when we were growing in early years, our parents used to tell us, you know, there is only one person who is omnipresent, and that is God. The reality is today, everyone wants to engage and interact with their financial services partner in an omnipresent fashion. I want my bank to be omnipresent. I wake up at 3 in the morning, I feel hungry, I need some cash, I need to go out and buy something, I need to go to an ATM, or better, if I have a fintech who's partnering with me, I go and do a P2P, a peer-to-peer payment system. So the reality of life is banks have to be omnipresent. Then second is I want financial institutions to be my partners for life. Many folks turn around and say, how do you expect partnership for life? And I say, whether you expect it from your life partner or not, you certainly expect it from the bank. So as I'm growing up, as I go and get educated, and we're going to have friends who are going to talk about that, as I go through building my home, as I look at doing all the other things that I want to do, the bank plays a very, very important role through my life cycle. And the third important area where we want to engage with our bank is that we expect our bank to be a thinking bank. Now you might turn around and say, Manoj, what's a thinking bank? A thinking bank is a bank which anticipates my needs even before I can think about it. That means by gathering a lot of information about me from diverse sources, can the bank come and tell me, Manoj, I know you're thinking about buying a new car because I've been seeing that you've been visiting a lot of the car sites, and therefore I have got this fabulous new product which can help you go and buy that car at a very cheap EMI. Or there could be many, many examples like this. So I expect the financial institution, because I engage digitally with this financial institution, to be omnipresent, to engage with me through my entire life cycle, and then also think ahead based on what my future desires could be, make those desires come true. Now, if we have to expect a financial institution to do all of this, the only message I want to share with you is they cannot do it without the fintechs. The fintechs come up with innovative products which enable all of this to occur. Now, you might turn around and say, Manoj, why is it that a big bank cannot make that investment? Why is it that a fintech can go and do it, which is a young company full of vibrant, energetic folks? The reality is, what does someone like Manav do? Got a great idea, will go to 10 VCs. One of them is going to say, fantastic, Manav, here, take the money, go build the product. If you're in a large bank, imagine if you have to build a product. You will have to go through umpteen cycles of approvals. And one person turns around and says no, and you are toast. So you get a gray-haired guy like me sitting there and saying, you know what, I don't think this is very profitable. Looking at a profit pool, I don't think it's going to move the needle. As I look at our CAGR over 3 or 5 years, I don't see the return. And I start having my own hypothesis built upon my past experiences and my hope for the future. And I say, I'm not very sure. There comes crashing the idea of the product. Manav goes to the first VC. The VC says, sorry, I don't like your idea. He goes to the second, third, fourth, fifth. In a matter of 15 days, he visits 10 guys. He'll absolutely convince one guy, will say, great idea, let's go do it. So the reality is that there's a proliferation of products coming in through these bright young fintechs which are disrupting the entire value chain. My view of the future is very simple, and we are seeing that occurring today, that we're going to find that fintechs and large financial traditional institutions partnering together to be able to offer the new world services that customers are asking for. It is my belief that fintechs will help traditional banks, as well as the young companies to help customers run better, change faster, and grow bigger. So partner with fintechs. That's the right way to go. They are disrupting the value chain. They can work very closely with traditional banking institutions and offer new world services. And we're going to hear about some of those services in a few minutes from now. Are there challenges? Absolutely, yes. The regulators are a big challenge because the regulators care for things that maybe young startups are not too concerned about. Is security an issue? That always is. When you have a multiplicity of services and products which a bank offers, security is a big issue that needs to be considered. Again, fintechs do not look at borders. Digital currency does not look at borders. Digital transactions do not look at borders, but regulators do. So therefore, how do we look at cross-border transactions? How do we make sure they are secure? How do we ensure integrity of data and information of our citizen and privacy? These are issues which have to be tackled. But all this notwithstanding, the reality of life is fintechs are here to stay. Embrace them, encourage them, fund them, because they are going to help us achieve what we want in the future, which is the financial freedom that our country and our youngsters need to lead a happy, healthy, and long life. So again, I'd like to encourage all the young fintechs to continue making the investments and move forward. And I'm sure that everyone here is going to enjoy the fruit of all the hard work you do. Thank you.